Leadership Unleashed, a place where we explore leadership ideas and dare to question the status quo. Today we're going to talk about mindful leadership. This is a topic that has gained a lot of ground over the last 20 or 30 years as the world has become much more accustomed to learning about things and being open to things like meditation and mindfulness. But what does it really mean to practice mindfulness or to be a mindful leader? One definition that I've heard, and I think is most practical, is that mindfulness is defined as simply present moment awareness. Moment by moment, paying attention to what is in front of you very intentionally, very deliberately. Again, simply present moment awareness. We can get wrapped around the axle with all kinds of different, very detailed definitions, but really it's just paying attention intentionally. That is mindfulness. That we are simply in a state where we're focused exclusively on whatever's right in front of us, on whatever we're engaged in, without paying attention to distractions, whether they're internal or external stimuli that try to take our attention away. Have you ever been driving down the road and gone past your exit or 10, 20 miles and realized, oh my gosh, I don't think I've been paying attention to the road at all for the last 10 or 15 minutes. That's a sure sign that you're not being very mindful. Now, luckily, our brains have things like muscle memory and pattern recognition that can help us get there without getting into a big accident. And when things do go sideways, we will pay attention. But it just shows that our minds often have this tendency to drift off, to go focus on other things. It's simply a way for your brain to save energy, because being really intentional and mindful can actually be quite exhausting because it uses a lot of brain energy. So let's face it, we live in a world that's constantly demanding our attention every single place we go. And it's accelerating all the time. As technology continues to grow, it's getting harder and harder to pay attention. Most of us carry around a smartphone that we continually check all day long with all of our various apps, news, social media, and so forth. Every single moment, these things are becoming more and more accessible and slowly training us to be less and less mindful. Our houses are technologically rigged where we have TVs and tablets and various other electronics to pull our attention away from the present moment, and they are working hard to get your attention. If you think about it, when was the last time you just sat down with no technology, no phone, no distractions, and just had a deep conversation with someone, focused on the person sitting across from you in a very mindful way? It doesn't happen as often as we'd like. So that's what mindful leadership is all about in its essence, is being exclusively focused on the present moment of whatever you are doing. Just remember, like I said, our world is working against us constantly, and we need to make space and be very intentional if we're going to be mindful. As a mindful leader, we have to be aware that phones, Zoom calls, our email box, and all the buzzers and things that go on in our world, they're trying to pull your attention away constantly. And they have motivations to do that, especially in sales. When I grab your attention, I may be able to sell something to you. So it's constant because there's a big money motive behind it usually. So we have to train ourselves to become more mindful and less distracted. It's really training the brain to become good at paying attention. One of my main concerns these days is that we're training our children and ourselves to become even more distracted every single day. So we have to do something about it. So what can we do practically to be a more mindful leader? It's training yourself, but also setting up your physical environment to make sure it supports you. One way to start right at this moment is putting your phone away in your pocket on silent when you're in a meeting. Studies have shown again and again that even having the phone on the desk in front of you, face down between you and the other person, still pulls your attention away. It still commands some attention because the phone might buzz or may go off. I know we've worked to all be very disciplined and we all put our phones face down or we throw them in a basket, but they're still sitting there in the middle of the room and people forget to turn their ringers off, and it's still going to command attention. Even just silently sitting there face down doing nothing will pull a little bit of attention away from the connection between you and I. So put it away. Make the other person or the team the priority and not your technology. Also, it does not hurt to start a daily meditation or mindfulness practice where you stop for 15 or 20 minutes, put all your distractions away, shut your door, turn off any notifications, and just be with yourself and practice. A way to do this is focus on your breathing. I like that the best because it's something you have everywhere you go, every moment that you're alive. You have your breath. And if you focus on your breath, in and out. When leading a meeting or a group of people, having clear agendas with specific outcomes and staying on track to both time and the purpose helps be more mindful. And if you're paying attention and you're very engaged, you'll maybe even end your meeting early and give people more time to go practice their mindfulness. Demand that meetings are in person if possible, because we all know that we multitask and do other things when we're on a WebEx or a Zoom or various other application. I'm not going to say I don't do it because we all do. It's just too tempting. It's just going to pull you away. And it's disrespectful to the other people trying to get things done. So let's meet in person if we can. If not, it's okay to use technology and use all those applications. But why not state right at the beginning, let's be really mindful, get the agenda taken care of, and maybe we can get off this call early. Timers can be very helpful or useful when you're trying to develop a practice, especially if you're trying to focus on a specific task. What I mean by this is setting your timer on your phone for 25 minutes or so to focus down on that task and really get it done, and know that you're not going to answer a phone call, you're not going to let somebody come in your office, you're going to not check email or do anything that pulls you away. Just hyper focus for that 25-30 minutes on the thing you're trying to get done. Setting a timer helps because it gives you a predetermined time and you'll know when you're done. One way that I've found also helps is actually going to a different environment, such as an office you don't normally work in or a coffee shop. It's amazing how much you can get done when you're not in your normal work environment, where you've built all these practices that unintentionally pull you away from being mindful. Also, remember that perfection is not the goal. Practice is the goal. We call it a mindfulness practice because practicing itself is the goal. It's unlikely that anybody's going to be perfect, and we must create a mindful practice where we're continually working on it. There are many practices in many places we can gain additional insight into mindfulness practices. One of the best that I've seen for a workplace is John Kabat-Zinn's mindfulness-based stress reduction programs. A lot of organizations have actually grabbed a hold of these and offer them as a form of stress reduction for the employees. But a key component of his practice is learning to become mindful. And I highly recommend it. It's very, very good. So go check it out. It's really structured and it's very, very practical. And if you want to gain some peace in your life, it's a great way to do it. So remember, as leaders, our number one obligation is to make space to be intentional, to be mindful, practice mindfulness ourselves, and demonstrate it so we can set the example. If we continue to work on a mindfulness practice at work, slowly you will see the beneficial outcomes such as more clarity, less stress, less reactivity, more calmness, and less judgment. Thank you so much for listening today. I really appreciate your time, and please take the opportunity to hit that subscribe button if you don't mind, and please go out there and be more mindful.